So Arab states are getting impatient, and with good reason, because the war is coming to their doorstep. It's threatening regional peace and trade. Let me tell you how. A cargo ship has been seized in the Red Sea. The ship is called Galaxy Leader. It was sailing from Turkey to India. Yesterday, it was passing through the Red Sea. That's when the hijackers struck. And we're not talking about pirates or bounty hunters. This was done by the Houthi rebels. We've talked about them before. The Houthis are a Shia armed group in Yemen. They're currently fighting a civil war. Most of their weapons and funds come from Iran. Basically, they are an Iranian proxy. And last month, the Houthis declared war on Israel. Even the hijacking is linked to that declaration because the Houthis say the ship is Israeli.
The naval forces of the Yemeni armed forces, with the help of Allah the Almighty, carried out a military operation in the Red Sea, resulting in the seizure of an Israeli ship and escorted it to the Yemeni coast. The Yemeni armed forces deal with the ship's crew in accordance with the teachings and values of our Islamic religion.
But Israel disagrees. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has released a statement. He says no Israeli national is on board the ship. So why did the Houthis target it? Well, let me introduce you to the murky world of global shipping. It's hard to say who controls a vessel. It's often registered in one country, run by another country, and owned by yet another country. Just consider this hijacked vessel. It is owned by a British firm, operated by the Japanese, and registered in the Bahamas. So how does Israel feature in this equation? The ship's owners are reportedly linked to Abraham Rami Ungar. He's an Israeli businessman, also one of the richest people in the country. Maybe that explains why the ship was targeted. All the stakeholders have raised concerns about this incident. They want the crew to be released.
The government firmly condemns this kind of incident. Currently, ministries and agencies, including the Transport Ministry and the Foreign Ministry, are gathering information and working with the relevant countries for the early release of the vessel and its crew.
This goes beyond just one vessel, though. The Red Sea is a key shipping route. More than 10% of global trade passes through here. What happens if this route becomes risky? If Houthis hijack more vessels? We could be looking at major supply issues. Oil prices could rise dramatically, which means other countries will have to respond, maybe with escort vessels or by deploying warships in the Red Sea. Which brings us to the United States. They've long policed the waters around West Asia, but right now the US is confused, especially the Pentagon. Their problem seems to be Iranian proxies like the Houthis. Many of them have been striking American assets. Some 60 attacks, 60 attacks have been reported since October. That's almost one attack per day. And how has President Joe Biden responded? With limited airstrikes, just 3 of them, all in eastern Syria. So some Pentagon officials are not happy. They say Biden's limited strategy is not working, that America should be more aggressive. If not, Iran will be emboldened. It's a tough call for Biden. If he escalates, he could get drawn into the war. If he doesn't, US troops could become sitting ducks. So what's his best option? Maybe end the war. Biden is yet to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. It's probably the only thing that will stop Israel's offensive. Their focus is still on the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. It was raided last week, remember. Israel says Hamas used Al-Shifa as a command base. They're releasing evidence to support their claim. Take a look at this. That was from October 7, the day Hamas attacked Israel. The video shows hostages being brought into Al-Shifa. 2 of them can be seen clearly. They appear to be injured. Now the Arab world says, so what? Where else would you take wounded people other than a hospital? But that's not the only evidence. The IDF claims to have found tunnels as well. One of them is around 55 meters long. It is located near the hospital complex. Take a look at this now. It's not just Al-Shifa though. Tanks have been spotted near another hospital, the Indonesian hospital in northern Gaza. A firefight has been reported there. At least 12 Palestinians have been killed so far. And outside the hospital, there is urban warfare. We're talking close-range combat. Israel has released footage of their men in action. It's almost like a video game. Like I said, it looks like a video game, but it's not a game though, is it? There are thousands of lives at stake here. Innocent civilians of Gaza, Israeli hostages, all of them are in grave danger. Is anyone working to rescue them? Well, there is diplomacy happening behind the scenes. Qatar and the US are brokering a deal. Hamas could release dozens of hostages. In return, Israel could agree to daily pauses in the fighting. Nothing's been signed so far, but Israel's US ambassador says he is hopeful.
We are hopeful that we can get a significant number of hostages freed in the coming days. I don't want to go into the details of these talks. They are obviously very sensitive. The less we go into the details, the better the chances of such a deal. But they are very serious efforts, and I'm hopeful that we can have a deal in the coming days.
So after nearly 50 days of fighting, diplomacy is coming through. Whether it's the Arab nations in China or Israel and Hamas in Qatar, the question is, will these talks be successful? The future of West Asia depends on it.